Hi everyone. All of you continue to share some great posts. And in this week's discussion on challenging the process, there's a recurring word that comes to mind, and that word is change. Whether that change is a small process or a large-scale social idea, the catalyst for change was the leader. Now, getting buy-in from stakeholders and understanding boundaries and having resolve or grit were a couple of qualities that were also mentioned. I saw that some of you noted some school-based situations, which always serve as great examples and lessons to learn from. And others were organizational or company-based examples. All of those examples were great. In this week's reading from our book, The Leadership Challenge, the authors, Kouzes and Posner, they shared the concepts of taking initiative and sharing outsight, two concepts that they mention within Challenge the Process. Now, outsight is the concept of looking outside your own experience in an almost prescient or future-seeking way. Change, or for our purposes, challenge, therefore, it's partly achieved through empowering others. In some of your examples, when that change or that challenge occurred and even came about suddenly, it had the roots of not being sustainable, even to the point of leaving the organization in a worse position than when the change began. In other words, when change happened too fast, it didn't sustain and it may have failed. This point serves a great lesson in fostering communication consistently throughout the organization and really wanting to create a culture of change that's ready to embrace change when it happens. And hopefully that change or challenge can stick. So I hope that you are noticing, if you haven't already, that these practices of exemplary leadership are all interrelated. Now, with these first two, challenging the process and modeling the way, they go hand in hand. If a leader models the way of transparency, trust, and good communication, getting stakeholder input, then ultimately there's a stronger likelihood that any future change or challenge to the process will be adopted and even sustained for the future. All right, so next week we're going to turn our attention to the third practice, which I think is the heart of the book, empowerment. So we're going to identify what leaders can do to enable their followers to greater productivity and success. We'll also assess the organizational level factors that are connected with employee disempowerment. And finally, we're going to assess organizational level factors connected with employee empowerment. We're also going to explore this idea of how to look back and leverage experience and the use of feedback in leadership development. There's also an interesting article that makes an argument for considering history, specifically the history of an organization as a tool for leadership development. Hence, there's this idea that's been postulated that's based on this quote: "Those who fail to learn from history are bound to repeat it." Now, let me comment on the discussion boards. This week, I have seen good examples of analysis and application in your writing. That is, analysis is, remember, breaking down ideas into their component parts and then applying those concepts to your situation and giving examples. That was great, so keep it up. All right, it's not too early to start thinking about your first assignment. That will be due at the end of week 4. So feel free to take a look at what's upcoming that week. I'm going to be sharing a video before that assignment is due with tips and expectations and how I grade and other things like that. So I will post that before that assignment is due. So for now and always, continue to post, to respond, keep that discussion going for the remainder of the weekend as needed, and I will see all of you online.